Man, your show's gonna be awesome, bro. Your show's gonna be awesome.
Because it just hit me. I'm gonna pull my laptop up over here
Yeah.
with that microphone, and
Now we're
that'll
live.
be. Oh shit!
Hello, everybody. So thank you for joining us. We just realized a little bit ago, about 10 minutes into the show, that we were not live the whole time. And I was looking at the screen like, hey, why can't I see anything? So yeah, it's really embarrassing. However, I just got done going over a lot of things too that don't worry about it. It's a night, okay? So now that we are live, thanks to everybody for who's going to be joining in and funneling in. We have an amazing show for you tonight, and I am excited to tell you guys that we're gonna have DJ Chico Garza and Michael Edenbaum, who's going to be joining us tonight. Now, I apologize. I am laughing because we're 10 minutes in and I've been talking this whole time, not realizing that we're actually not live yet. I went back to Facebook and saw in a message that we weren't live. So, to begin again. I'm sorry. It's always up. It's kind of it's funny. It's hilarious. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Now that we are live, uh, sorry guys. If you guys knew what just happened, what transpired, you got to be laughing too. I've been talking for about 10 minutes going on. We were not live, so thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Now, we do have a great show for you guys tonight. We have DJ Chico Garza that has come in, and we're gonna have him as a live interview sitting with me on the couch. And we also have Michael Edenbaum, who is going to be joining us tonight. And these gentlemen have very good experience, very good advice, and we're excited to have that tonight. Hey Ray, how's it going, brother? I appreciate you. Thanks very much, man. Having a good night. A very good night, apparently. So anyways, moving on. So we're gonna go ahead. We will be right back after we do this ad from one of our sponsors, from Honeybee Funds. All right.
This episode is brought to you by Honeybee Funds. Honeybee is a nonprofit organization set up to help house homeless people that fall through all the cracks of other help. Homelessness in America has skyrocketed since 2020, and it's senseless in the wealthiest country in America. Outside of natural disasters, Honeybee believes there is no reason for homelessness in America. Some people will fall through the cracks because they have no children, no elderly living in their household. Some homeless people are not recovering from drug addiction or recently released from jail, so they are not viewed as priority for housing. Honeybee Funds is set up to help homeless find a home, even if they have large dog that they count as part of their family. Email charliepooch131@gmail.com if you wish to contribute to Honeybee Funds. Now we will return back to our broadcast.
And we are back. So, Ukitsaneskapi, Nathaniel and Mateo Kawan, and welcome to today's episode of Today's Entertainers with Little Dog. And as I said before, we are going to have Chico Garza here with us live tonight, as well as we are going to have a remote interview with Michael Edenbaum. Now, before we get going, we do want to thank all of our sponsors, and I'm going to be saying this again because obviously we weren't live the first time. So, the first ones I want to thank is Water Pure Texas. Now, water is life, and we believe in clean water. And so this is from all the other ways that you can get, filters, which are good to have a filter on your house, especially down here in Texas. We have certain areas that are highly chlorinated. There's definitely calcium buildups in a lot of them, and we have a lot of wells around here in Texas to provide water, which is, water is life. Water is a carrier. It's either carrying minerals into your body or it's carrying minerals out of your body. And so you want to make sure that water is clean, okay? And what that does is it helps to stabilize the calcium so it doesn't stick to your skin, doesn't leach out the calcium out of your bones, as well as it doesn't stick to your walls or to your spouts. Okay. We're going to have a little machine that we're going to be coming in with to do a full test. And that machine's going to let us know everything that's inside of your water and even show a Bluetooth report of everything that's in it. So give us a call. That's going to be free for to check out, your water for your water test. It's not the Leslie's pool kit that we're going to be coming there. We're going to be coming there with an actual machine. So give me a call if you guys are interested in that. The second thing that I want to bring up is peaceoflifeshop.com, and they are also our sponsors, Piece of Life Shop. As you can find them on Facebook, you can go to their website, which is peaceoflifeshop.com. This one is purple octane. And now what makes this legal is the QR code right here, because it's going to lead back to a full lab report, a full version of this right here. And here in Texas, that is 100% complete legal. And they cannot do anything to you for it because it shows a picture of the product as well as gives all the information right here, which is below the legal limits here in Texas. So pretty soon I will be having my own QR code for that as well as my own discount code. So pretty excited about that. For now, just use the code Jesse15, JESSE15, and you'll get a discount whenever you go to checkout, and it's mailed straight to your house. So pretty cool little thing right there. Now, the second thing that I brought up was our sponsor, our affiliation with the Blackfeet Language Academy, which you will find them on Facebook, and go give them a follow, a like, listen to some of their stuff, because our word today, and I can now put it out there. There you go. Kiat Kitsamatsen, which is I will see you again. Kiat Kitsamatsen. So we don't say goodbye in our language. We say, stuff like see you later, I will see you again, in the literal translation of Kiat Kitsamatsen. And so whenever you're telling somebody goodbye, instead of saying goodbye, say Kiat Kitsamatsen. Kiat Kitsamatsen. There you go. Nice and slow. Practice it. Get it going. But I will see you again later, which is what I'm going to tell you guys at the end of the show. So the other sponsor that I would like to bring up is Enchiladas Olay. Enchiladas Olay is a wonderful place to take your family. They have obviously enchiladas. She started off making enchilada sauce. She's been featured in, the restaurant's been featured inside of, Fort Worth's foodies pages, as well as one of the upcoming businesses. And we'd like to thank them for sponsoring our show as well. So thank you very much. And eventually we're going to be talking about possibly doing a show from the patio. That'd be cool. A little live experience. Have some people come in and, come through, say hi, be on camera for a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what we can work out. And so the sorry, I'm still laughing from that. The last thing I wanted to bring up, which is, I believe that was it actually. Oh, I did talk about stickball. And so this is one of the stickball sticks. I mean balls. Sorry. So like I said, it's a small ball. Now this one isn't traditional. This one is made by Jacob Eustace, which is part of one of the group members for DFW Kabucha, and DFW Kabucha we actually practice on Sundays from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central at Keith Park in Dallas. And so come out, join us. Make some friends, have some fun, get some exercise, run around a little bit. You may not be good at it at the beginning, but hey, none of us were, so nobody's judging. Come out and play. It's pretty fun. Reconnect to some culture if you're from one of the lower, Choctaw nations or Mississippi Choctaw or Cherokee. So pretty cool. Anyways, they're not a sponsor. I just like playing the game. Moving on from that, we also have I do want to go over the powwow from we have a powwow coming up, which is the IIAC 2025, which is going to be April 5th and 6th. There we go. Thank you, Will. You rock, man. Now, there's going to be, it's free admission. It's going to be free parking. Now, this is going to be at the Big Bear Outdoor Museum in Chisholm Trail Parkway, which is 101 Chisholm Trail, Cleburne, Texas, 76033. Again, free to come in. Check it out. We're going to have dancers. There's going to be stickball demonstration. And, have some fun. Buy native. For more details, do the QR code, which is right up there. Oh, disappeared. But anyways, yep, there we go. That QR code right there. Oh, wrong side. Is it the wrong side? Oh, there it is. Sorry. I see it differently on my screen. So that QR code right there. And so we appreciate all of you guys. We look forward to seeing some of you there. And there's a possibility I might be live streaming from over there for a little while. So catch on. But I definitely will be there with the stickball team. Now, moving on. It's about 7:20. We are going to play another video from another cause that is kind of dear. You know, we have the Native American Studies, which is going to be up for renewal in Grand Prairie here in February, as well as it's a bill that we're trying to get passed. And not we, but you know, I'm I want to see it passed. We'll put it that way. I would like to see it passed because only about 3 schools in Texas, and she's going to say it on the video, you know, are actually currently teaching Native American studies. Because one thing I always said is that, you know, history, and this is a quote from somebody that I cannot tell you who it's from, but history is written by the victor. I saw it on a video game, which was Call of Duty, okay? Modern Warfare 2. But history is written by the victor. And they've been pretty successful at erasing Native American history and Native American studies from the textbook, you know, especially the truth of what happens. And we get stuff that came out like, you know, the Pocahontas cartoon from Walt Disney, a lot of misinformation. And now we're starting to see, you know, Native American studies come through as well as in the media too. You know, we have Reservation Dogs that came out. Native American directors are starting to win awards and get more attention. Native Americans are now in the media a lot more. And so, very grateful about that. We want to make sure that, you know, that the right text makes it to the history books and the schools start teaching it as well too, because it's more than what was taught in school. I had the pleasure of learning, you know, history on the reservation as well as off of the reservation. And to be honest, it was 2 different stories. You know, the one I learned from the reservation that was based on the actual truth in history, they don't have that on there. It's not taught in schools, especially down here. And whenever I went down to, I came back to Texas my senior year. So I went up to, you know, I was down here in Texas before. We moved to Montana, and then I came down my senior year. In my senior year at Mansfield High School, they tried to get rid of, or they were successful in erasing my Blackfeet history credit as part of my school credits. They tried to make me stay a whole nother year, and they tried to remove me from National Honor Society. Now, had I actually had everything been successful and I've been able to actually get credit for all of my studies, I actually had enough credits to graduate right then and there. However, because they erased that, they erased my Blackfeet language class as an actual credit. It didn't count, so they removed that from as credits too. So they were trying to literally hold me back a whole nother year. I had to fight for a lot of the credits that I got. And that was here in Mansfield, Texas. And that was just my Blackfeet history classes that I took up in Montana, which was, you know, a class that could be used for my credits. So we will be right back with Chico Garza right after this call to action video.
Currently, only 3 out of over 1,000 school districts across Texas have an American Indians Native Studies course, but other school districts such as Austin and San Antonio have expressed their interest to teach this course, which is why we need your help to make sure this course gets renewed this winter. For a little bit of context, the American Indian Native Studies course is currently offered as a pilot course in Grand Prairie ISD, and it is up for renewal at the end of this academic year. The renewal would renew the existing course that is already approved and make it available to teach in school districts across Texas for the next 5 years. Unfortunately, the renewal process has not been placed on the agenda at the State Board of Education meeting this January, which is why we need your help. Because school districts often define their calendar for the next academic year in the early winter, we need this course to be renewed as soon as possible so that it has a chance to be offered next year. Please help us email State Board of Education Chair Kinsey through the link in our bio or in the caption below to make sure that the American Indian Native Studies course renewal and adoption be placed on the next available agenda. Thank you guys so much.
All right, and we are back. So thank you for listening to that. Again, something that I'm actually very passionate about here, and that we are here. So, hey, Benita, how you doing? It's my little sister. Now we are here with Chico Garza.
Hello.
Hi, Chico.
Thank
How
you for having me today, man. Thank you, man. You've been nothing but friendly, nothing but nice. The green room was phenomenal. I've got to say, I mean, your catering and craft services is bar none. I mean, if you're ever going to be on a podcast, this is the podcast to be. Do not do and don't do it Zoom. You got to do it live. You have to experience it in the full realm. I mean, his green room is phenomenal. He's got video games in there. He's got. I mean, it was really kind of cool. I'm sorry, I'm not even. And it's funny, I'm not even a gamer. And like I told him, I was like, bro, I don't play games, but it's hard. He had to pull me out. Thanks for thanks for bringing me in, bro. I appreciate it. And it's funny. We've known each other for a while, and talked about doing something like this. And you talked about putting something together like this, and now it's gotten together, and you've put it together, and it's coming together, and phenomenal, bro. I want to say good job on everything you're doing, and your sponsors. Hey, I love your sponsors. I gotta say, enchiladas, Ole. I mean, hands down, one of my favorite spots in town. All day, every day. Anytime I'm in the DFW area, that's one of the spots I have to go to, at least twice.
I know, right? It's definitely something else. It's a lot. It's pretty good. I like it. And she's been very nice to us.
The owner is phenomenal. I've read all the articles that have been written about her, and she is. I mean, it's funny because the articles really do not do justice on how great of a person she really is, and it's having met her the way I met her. You introduced me to her, and it was funny because you introduced me to her, and she was really, really very nice from very beginning. I didn't know who she was, and she took me in, and since then it's been very friendly, very nice, but after learning more about her, and I mean, you really see the heart, and you see what not only her but her staff puts into the restaurant, and that means a lot. Me coming from being a foodie, and I'm also a DJ slash foodie slash, but I love food. I used to be 300 pounds, so I've eaten my share, and
I know, man. I didn't even recognize you whenever you came back and you came up here and you got off of. We went to go pick you up. I was looking back and it was like, hey, look, there's Chico right there. I was like, where? I was looking all back in that area. I didn't see you. I was like, I remember how you looked before, which like I said, you were bigger. You look really good right now. You're looking a lot healthier.
Thank you. I feel healthy. I feel good. It all comes from hey, you just. I've had a lot of fun in my life and done a lot of things in my life, but it's one of those things when you start to love yourself, you start to understand yourself, and start to understand what you really, what you have to offer, not only as a person, but in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It changes your priorities from having an alcoholic drink in your hand every 10 minutes to, hey, I can really have a conversation with people. I can talk to people, So, sorry, a little too much.
No, you're
all at
good, man.
once.
You're good. Appreciate you. And we're really happy to have you on the show, I know that this is something that I've been looking towards. And so, oh, and Will did bring up something that I forgot to bring up earlier too. We may be actually, which is kind of cool, kind of a news right here, because Chico may actually be helping me out here in the show coming in the future as well for better sound, better camera, better equipment. And so, he may actually be joining us, which is something that we've been kind of discussing as well, which is going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal for the show. It's going to be definitely a step up from where we currently are. And
This is not just a one-time collaboration. This is something that, and it's funny. I'm glad you talked about it, because I was like, man, I wonder if he's gonna talk about it, or we're just gonna let it fade into it. But now that you're talking about it, yes, this is something we're working on, and he's put his heart and soul into it, and I believe in it, and I see the heart in it, and we can all add everything together, put things together, and but more than anything, I love the stories that after watching all the podcast, the past episodes, some of the stories that the people share, some of the things that really get. I believe more people need to be that way. I mean, too many times you put on a podcast, you see these interviews, and there's no depth to it. And one thing that you've really added to, and one thing that I really see is you ask questions, which and it's not just questions of hey, so yeah, you live in Modesto, eh? So how's the weather? No, I mean, you ask, what motivates you? What brings you? What, you talk a little bit about your motivation. What, moving here from Montana, and things. So, whatever.
And I appreciate it. I'm excited to have you on now. For I guess, please go ahead and introduce yourself for
Okay.
everyone.
Well, my name is Chico. Well, Daniel Garza, Chico. I've been a DJ for 30 years. Actually started DJing when I was in high school. I love music. I love everything about music. Um, at a very young age, I had a adult voice, which I don't understand. I mean, I was born and raised in Texas. Grew up in Amarillo, Texas, and never got a Texas accent. Never got a Spanish accent. Never. I mean, and I always had a dream of being Phil Donahue or Johnny Carson. I was the little guy with the little recorder, would walk around, record, acting like I was interviewing people, and got out of high school and got into radio, and that was when I learned the entertainment business, and it really opened my eyes. And so I promoted concerts and did different things, and as far as promotion, and learned really what the entertainment business is two words. It's show business. There's a lot of people that have the show. Very few people have the show business. That's why they have the managers. That's why they have the people. Because they don't care that all they can do is do that part. And I was blessed to be able to learn, that part, the business part, and understand the business part. And I've been able to use that in different areas in my life and things. Growing up now, 49 years old, about to be 50. Uh, doing Started out just doing extra work. I just want, even if I didn't end up on camera, it didn't matter. If I did not end up on set, it was one of those things. It's one of those things that I've always just been hungry. Just I just want to be on set, or I just want to be, even in holding, just because if you haven't been on set, and talking to the people that haven't, and that's something you can relate to.
Mhm.
When you get on set, you meet so many different personalities and so many different worlds. There's really some people that have done it a long time, and there's some people that have never done it, and then there's other people that, hey, what, my buddy just got me into it. They're doing makeup or whatever, and it's kind of cool because me being from the radio business and being in the club business, I see a whole lot of different personalities, a whole different worlds. But then, when you go into holding at a on a project, then you see the world. I mean, you've got people that work, in everyday 9 to 5 jobs. You got people that work those 7-Eleven. People that don't work. People that do, people that don't even worry about working. They just are doing that. I've met a couple of retirees that I became friends with. It's kind of cool because you know what? Hey, it's a day I'm not working at Walmart or so and they needed somebody old, always an experience and always, and it's really cool because, I've been acting for, now 18 years and really working steady for the last 8 years. And it's great because I promised when I first got in, I made a promise to myself and I've made a promise to God that, hey, if you keep this going, just give me work. I don't have to work every day. Just give me work. I'm going to share love and I'm going to be nice because too many times when, like my first time on set was not fun. My first time on, being in holding was not a good experience
Mhm.
because, you walk in, you don't know what's going on. You don't know, and like me, I'm not really a person I really don't want to ask questions because there's 180 people here and I know that person's been asked the same question. So just kind of go on, pay attention to what's going on. And so that's kind of the way I drifted in. But, I remember this particular case, one of my first commercials, I sat down next to somebody and just decided, ask a couple of questions. Well, their first thing was look at me and go, how many projects have you done? Uh, well, hey, this is my second commercial. I did, American Crime. I was a little extra on that. And turns around like that, and I was like, and I'll never forget it. You know, it sits in my head because I'm like, I'm not ever going to be that person. I cannot, you know, no matter how many credits or what I, you know, oh, excuse, oh, this is your first time. No, sorry. No, you know, and so one of the great things about, you know, being able to meet these new people is, you know, you do get to see some green people and some people and it's funny, when I first saw you on set, you're one of those that just gravitates and goes and and it's funny because I watch it and I was like, That's really cool," because you know there is a lot of people that sit on, you know, if you've never been in holding, or you've never been on set, you know, you're sitting in holding, if you've never been in it, you don't know what's going on until somebody like LaFever or myself walk up and go, "Hey, what's going on? What are you doing?" You know, and start just bothering them, which which usually, you know, me, you know, it's funny because like I pick and choose when I do it, and it's funny because I found myself really like on the days that you and I were on set on Landman. You know, now I'm gonna get into Landman. We were on Landman, and you know, I'd be like, "Man, just drove in. It's 4 a. I drove in. It's 4 a.m. It's on set." And then the first person I see is this guy. "Hey, what are you doing? Come on. I want you to meet this person. I want you." And I'm like, "Bro, do you understand? I just drove from Austin at 4 a.m. to get here at 6 a.m. And you got me. Let me have a breath. Let me take a breath." "Okay." And he looked at me with that smile. "Okay. Okay, you had your breath. Hey, look. Hey, this is Chico." Which is great. You know, it's always a good experience. But I swore I promised myself and I promised God that I would always, you know, try to be, you know, nice, you know, which it costs nothing to be nice, you know, especially and I not only try to use that on set, but I try to use that everywhere. But because, you know, you don't know what people are going through, you don't know what's going on, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And especially, you know, I met a couple of people on set that were like, "I'm never doing this again. Oh, I hate this. I hate this." And then you see them a month later, and they're like, "You know, after hanging out with you, I loved it." You know, and you know,
Yeah.
which is a blessing.
And I like to keep it lively on set. I like to, you know, have fun. And I know you're the same way too. You know, if humor makes things kind of go by a little bit faster. And the first set that we were on was Walker.
Yes, Walker, Texas Ranger.
And that's season 4. That's whenever we first met.
That was we met on Walker, Texas Ranger, season 4, Taylor, Texas, in a seedy hotel scene.
Yeah.
And all they said you know, what really got me about that was we were just seedy people, hotel people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the episode came out that we found out who we were.
Yeah.
That was wrong. That was wrong.
Well, I kind of had an idea from the way I was dressed.
Oh, no.
It told me grab this bag and give it to this person.
Well,
I was like, I know who I am.
Think about it. Look, you know, being Mexican American, everybody already tells me, "Hey, I know what you are. You're the drug dealer, or you're the cartel, aren't you?" And you know, this is the one that I can actually say, "No, I'm just a seedy hotel person." And then the episode comes out, and what they say, they show me on screen, and he says, "There's the cartel member." I said, "Yeah." So yeah,
Yeah. And
but that was that was a cool experience. Also, I mean, first time I ever met you, and it was there. We were with people that I'd never met any of them. I mean, it was only what 8 of us, only ones. There were extras and the whole scene.
And actually, the first day we stayed in holding for all 12 hours.
Yeah.
And then we got on camera afterwards.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool, but it was cold and
It was
there were
cold.
roaches.
We had a roach race on the wall, and it was a seedy hotel. And apparently, it's still a hotel. It is a real hotel.
Yeah, it was. I think they were trying to do renovations, but the ACs were coming out of the wall and everything. It was. I think they're trying to rebuild it.
Yeah,
But they had permanent residents, which is kind of cool. I think they actually made it in the back.
I think they ended up on screen. They really did. I think I saw a couple of them in crafting services.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was pretty fun. But you know, whenever I'm on set, what I like to do is I like to network. And that's what I do by bouncing around. I try to make my way around to introduce myself to everybody, and at least try to make people laugh, depending on how their mood is and kind of what kind of read I get on them. And so that is something that I like to do. I eventually made it all the way up to talking to the stunt people, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 'cause like I said, I want to learn a little bit of stage combat. I want to, because I have martial arts experience. I may not look like it anymore, but I'm getting back down to where I was. I'm well over 100 pounds lighter than I used to be, which is
Congratulations.
so you're not the only one
Let's keep
dropping weight.
Let's keep it going.
You're not losing it, and I'm finding it. I'm not losing it, and you're finding it. So
Let's keep it going.
but that's something that I would like to do now. I want to go back. You said that you started off in DJing, right?
Yes.
You said that was whenever you were 16?
So I was 16. I was actually like 13, 14, 15. I loved music. I loved everything about music. I mean, whatever I could grab, whatever I could consume. My parents were very conservative. I was raised in a Christian home. It was very Christian. I went to Catholic school in elementary, and got my fill of that, and then my mother pulled us out, and so ended up in public school, but went to a small school, and was a good school. It was a good area, good thing. I mean, but I just something about music that I loved. I mean, we listened to country music in the house. My parents had their record collection. I would sit and there was some things we weren't allowed to listen to, of course. But you find ways of doing that. But it wasn't. And then it was in high school, which everything kind of comes together. My freshman year in eighth grade. My school was one of those schools where you went from elementary to high school. You graduated. I mean, you knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody's parents knew everybody. So eighth grade, you made your schedule for ninth grade, which was high school then. There was no middle school, and so you made your schedule. We made our schedule, and you got to pick electives. So I picked theater as one of my electives. I'll never forget with my best friend and. We got the same class, first period, freshman year, walk in. Teacher goes through, does roll call, and then gets to the bottom, and everybody's here, here, here. And then she looks back down, calls me to the front to her desk, and I go, walk up, and she goes, "What are you doing here?" Excuse me? I go, "This is theater, right?" And she's like, "I don't think this is for you." I'm a freshman. I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, Mark. Bye, everybody. I'm gonna go be a teacher's assistant somewhere. I mean, so I went to because all the classes are full. So then, 2 years later, and it's in between. It's that time that I really start really enjoying music and loving music. I'm the trumpet player in the band. I'm first chair and just consuming everything that it comes to music. And I have this voice, so I'm like, man, I should start DJing. I should start, And my brother was popular, so he went to he was invited to the popular parties. Well, he wasn't allowed to go without me. So,
Nice. So you became the DJ.
I became, exactly. I'm sitting next to the record player. The tape would stop. Everybody look up. Garza! Okay, and, keep going. And so that was my freshman, sophomore year. In a sophomore year, June, best friend looks at me, say, best friend, "Hey, bro, you need to get in the theater this year. I've been in the last 2 years." I go, "Shut up, man. Stop. Why? So I can get kicked out again." So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Sign up for it. Junior year, boom. Junior year, walk in. We have the same class. First period. I'm like, all right, let's see. New teacher. Cool. Teacher does the roll call. So, it was the class was 1 through 4, so does roll call and then does, improv. Because you want to know who everybody is, right?
Yeah.
But we do the improv, go through everything, go through the class, and I'm like, start feeling butterflies. I'm like, wow, I actually did improv. I made it through the class. Might be in theater this year, bro. Well, then, end of the class, bell rings. She says, "Daniel, can I see you?" Look at my best friend. I go, "Bro, at least I made it the whole class." And I walk up and she's looking at me, looks at me, a little concerned. She's like, I'm looking at this, and this is your first year in theater? I go, yeah. She goes, why have you never? I go, well, I did. And I went on and explained to her what happened my freshman year, and she's like, I think her jaw drops. She freaks out and goes, oh my, that should have never been told to you, should have never been said to you. I'm like, well, and that's from there, I ended up, she took me under her wing and ended up doing extemporaneous speaking, ended up on the speech team, extemporaneous speaking, LD debate, CX, uh, man, and just really got into my own and learning the theatrical part and being able to do the Chico.
Yeah.
And still the whole time loving music, enjoying music, graduate high school, I'm working, sitting at a barbecue one day. So I mean, I can't make this up. It's a true story. Sit at a barbecue in my hometown. They say, Chief, hey, Daniel, call, request a song. Call, request song. The guy goes, hang on. Comes back and he says, hey, I need you to say this. And I'm like, all right. So I say it. And then he says, hang on, puts me on hold. Well, then plays what I just said on the air. And everybody's, well, what are you doing? Oh, wow, wow, wow. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm on hold. Comes back. The guy gets back on and he goes, man, you ever thought about being on the radio? Yes. So,
That's
next.
cool. You know, I've been told that I have a face for radio.
Oh, it's. Found out real quick I had the face for radio. No. Honestly, you think it's a great thing when they say, hey, you're going to go out to this car lot and give away these tickets. I'm a star. No. A face only a mother can love. I mean that's it. A voice, when a woman looks at me and goes, don't look at me, just talk to me. Can you turn your back and talk to me, please? What? I mean, yeah.
See, now that's mean. It's funny, but mean.
I'm sorry I haven't experienced it. I mean, that's why the name of my book is Things That Have Only Happened to Me.
So where's your? Is that what you're writing?
I've been working on it now for 30 years. Because no matter, anytime I think it can't, hey, all right, this is really the last thing that can only happen to me. Yeah. 2 years later, something else, And I try to explain to people, but it's funny because it works both ways, like the radio thing.
Mm.
Like who, how's that happen? You know what I mean? And then, don't get me wrong, but also the same token, whatever you put out is what you put in. There was a time in my life where I wasn't the nicest person, which you lose your way,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say that, a lot of times you really don't know your way to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you lose your direction, that's when you lose everything, because then hey, it's up in the air.
For sure.
And when you get back into what you need to do, just too many times we get into our own heads. What is that great saying? We are our worst enemy,
Mm-hmm.
and our greatest critic.
Yeah.
We're never going to make ourselves happy. You know what? I don't believe that. I stopped believing that, because you know what happiness is? Happiness is whatever you make of it, bro.
Mhm.
I mean, think about it. Woke up this morning. We were blessed with breakfast, blessed with water, blessed with, there was tornadoes in the area yesterday.
Yeah.
We had electricity. It's crazy. I'm saying those things, and I know people are probably, oh, that's so, you're just cliche. But no, it sounds cliche, but it's not cliche, because we take so many things for granted that we don't look at the things that we should be, happy for. We should be,
Mhm.
glad
Yeah,
for,
sure.
and
I'm happy I woke up, especially because yesterday morning, was it yesterday morning? Yes, yesterday morning, because this morning we woke up pretty good. Yesterday morning we had tornado sirens going off around 4 in the morning, 4 or 5 a.m., and it carried on for a while, and a lot of it was a lot of wind, but there was a bunch of F-Zeros and F1s that dropped around the Metroplex. Some in Arlington, a little bit north of Arlington. I think Dallas had some. I think Denton had some. And so, whenever I heard the sirens, first thing I did was, because we had put my family inside of the we have a closet that we use for emergencies. So they had gone in there. I ran outside to take a look. The very Texan thing to do, right? Ran outside, took a look around. I was like, I don't see anything. I was out there sensing the weather. I was like, the ancestors, they speak to me in the wind.
So yeah, that is a very Texan thing to do. I would have been looking out the window.
Hey, the wind felt great. And then it got really cold and then all of a sudden it started pouring down again. I was like, yep, time to go. But nothing came around where we were, just a whole bunch of wind. Now, how long did you do DJ before you started doing background work and acting?
Okay, my first background was 98, which I'd gotten on the radio in 95. So it was 3 years. And it was actually American Gangster.
Ah, nice.
American Gangster. I had the pleasure of working on that, which was really cool. And that's where I got my first feel and taste.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. And then it wasn't until I moved to Dallas, and it was 18 years ago, that I really started I'm like, man, so, that's another thing that just kind of fell. I'm sitting, I had this happy hour place I would hang out at. This guy looks, is the general manager, and he'd been talking about how he's going to, he's working on stunt school. Which is funny that you want to be a stunt guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to stunt school now. He goes, and about to start working on a project. And it was Evolutions. Remember Evolutions on NBC?
Yeah.
He goes, about to start working on, he goes, they're looking for extras. You want to do it? What? Okay. Which, because I told him, I told him about American, and he was like, yeah, okay. So I signed up, and man, from there went from, did Leftovers, did American Crime on ABC, then did this one was really cool. Pilot for Fox was Urban Cowboy, from the director of Hustle and Flow, nice. Craig Brewer. Craig Brewer wrote a whole new script of Urban Cowboy and made it a series. Was it to make a series, and gave it to, or went before Fox, and they said, all right, make us 2 episodes, make us a pilot and an episode, and we'll see what's up.
Nice.
So goes to Austin, and I was blessed to be able to be a part of that project. It didn't get picked up, but it was really cool, and being able to be around Mr. Belushi with his big cigars, sitting around. I mean, that was kind of cool, man. But also Craig Brewer, phenomenal director, phenomenal person. I mean, Academy Award winning director, writer, and just so down to earth. It was surreal to watch. I mean, like being around him, honestly. And especially that at that time in where I was still growing. Yeah, and I'm sure. Not to say I'm not growing, I'm still growing, but it was one of my first projects, but Academy Award, and and then on set he had the Hustle and Flow caddy, awesome. the car, his brown car. And I was like, man, that is so cool.
That is awesome, man. And you've also had a couple of other feature roles too, right?
Yes, I was able to. I worked on Alita Battle Angel, which that was kind of crazy because it started off as I was booked, and then next thing I know, every day, you're coming back tomorrow. You're coming back tomorrow. It wasn't one of those things where they, how we get booked. We get booked. They send you, you're booked these days, and then you're booked those days. And then they email you and they say, but with Alito, it was really cool. It was just, we'll see tomorrow.
So,
See you tomorrow.
so what would you say is some of the biggest differences from doing roles in 1998 and getting booked to today?
Oh man. Oh, there's just it's so different. Just the way things are ran. I mean, especially now. I mean, it's so just the way it is. It's always been run like clockwork, and it's always been run tight. But just to see how now the director is so free to just really move. I mean, well, back in the '90s, it seemed a little. I mean, almost not really. But that was a big project, and it was. But it's funny now that you're saying, now that you asked that, the comparisons. There was a difference in catering. There was a difference in how like they didn't really know how to treat like everybody was you were just kind of clumped together. You were just it wouldn't and like PAs didn't really know what PAs did
Yeah.
but it was just kind of a learning learning situation. Everybody on set. And now it's funny because we get on set and it's every piece, I mean the puzzle is out there,
Yeah.
and all the pieces are fitting, and and it goes without you don't see it,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Hey, there's so much going on you know behind the scenes that we don't have to be involved, that we don't need to be
Yeah.
near. And it's funny because
And-
early it was there was just free for all. There was, I mean, things going on all the time.
Yeah.
And you're on set, hours and hours, and they're getting nothing accomplished. They're getting, it's just so much imbalance.
Yeah.
And
And I want to make sure that everybody knows that, background is very essential to the film process, to the film itself, to the project itself. And the reason for that is because without background, there would be no world for them to live in. It'd be think about it. Watching The Matrix, right?
yeah,
The scene where Morpheus is talking to Neo and he gets distracted by the lady in the red dress. How weird would that scene look if it was just them two walking down and the lady in the red dress passing by with no extras in there, nobody else to make the world?
it wouldn't be.
It'd be weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it'd be all the obvious, and so that's why everybody is important on set. From the PAs to extras to the grips. Everybody is very important.
That is so true. But the and one of the big things also, being background, I mean, it's really important to pay attention.
Mhm.
But not only pay attention, but to be, just be open.
Mhm.
I mean, I was on one project, and I felt bad because there was karma's a real thing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It is real. There was a guy he was a little pompous, and the PA grabs him and goes, "Hey, need you to stand right here. You're gonna stand right here. Here's where you're gonna put your foot. Like to the T. This is the angle. This is it. This is well." He's standing, and it's like facing you, okay?
Mhm.
But the camera's over there.
Yeah.
So what does the guy do? He turns his profile. Twice they had to cut, go back to one. Well, then, they end up, the guy ends up, PA walks up to him and goes, "Hey, bud, what are you doing? What happened?"
Sorry, no. Your hand gestures actually triggered balloons that go off on the screen. So
All
I
right.
wasn't sure what it was. I think it's this right here. I know that it does. See, there he goes.
All right, perfect. All right, we're learning.
We had balloons on just a little bit earlier, but hey, dust me off again.
Well, no, it's great because I'm getting to the last part of the story. So then the PA walks up to him and goes, "Hey, man, we've already filled out your time card. This is your clothes, right?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You can go ahead and go to your car."
Oh dang.
Yeah. So, I say that only because, hey, always understand it doesn't matter. If they tell you to, stand with your arm to the left and this arm like this, hey, do it. I mean, some of that shit, it's funny because like some of that stuff, even like some of the ways I have you sit, like feels awkward, feels weird, but then you don't understand what it's doing to the picture until then when you see it on camera, you're like, oh wow, man, that was so uncomfortable. But then it looks great.
Yeah. And it's very important because uh a lot of actors and a lot of stars started off in background,
Yeah.
and a lot of them got their feel for it, and it helps out with you know getting to know the set, getting to know how a set works, especially if you don't know how it works. It's a good way to kind of see and get a feel for it. And so that's why background is important. Hey Mike, how you doing? Thanks for joining us today and watching us today.
Thank you, Mike.
And anyway, so that's why background is very important as far as like I was saying. I do enjoy being background, and I had the pleasure of sitting down with Linda McAllister pretty recently, very well known Texas and Oklahoma agent, and she said, keep working background, keep to go ahead and do it because we're trying to raise up film here in Texas, and keep bettering yourselves. Trying to catch up to other markets is very difficult. However, it is something that the agents here in Texas want to do. They want to push Texans to projects that are in Texas, because here's the thing is that whenever they pay to bring another actor in, and that other actor comes into Texas and essentially takes the role, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
They're good at it, and they've been at practice for a long time, and they have really high standards, right? And so what they do is they take the role, they take the money out of Texas. And what they want is they want to keep the money in Texas, which is something that I want to. And I see it as an opportunity. That's why, I started in background. I still do background to this day, but I also focus on moving forward too, bettering myself, doing headshots, taking some acting classes, oh, cool. And going to the workshops, upgrading my resume, upgrading my photos, always getting better, always getting, to where I need to be, because I do see the opportunity for Texas film to be more than what it currently is, and to keep growing. Especially with it, the way that the unions are work, and Texas is, non-union state really.
Yeah.
And I see it becoming very big here, but we need to upgrade ourselves as actors, and people who are interested should, go ahead and get started, jump in. You never know what the directors are looking for.
That's one thing that's very true.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I can't reiterate. I can't tell enough people, because I've taken people. I've had people. Hey, let me come be on set, or I've had people. I've had sets ask, hey, do you know somebody that could come in and be extra? Well, then you bring them in, and they're a look that they're looking for, and they say, hey, come with us. Like that happened to be on Alita. I took a friend of mine, and she was just background, and then they grabbed her, and she goes, they're taking me over here, and the PA grabs me and goes, she's a feature now. And I was like, hey, that's what you want. You never know what's going to happen. And not only that, the circle is so small in Texas that once you've worked around these people, worked with these people, and they know that you're a hard worker, but more than that, they know that you're easy to work with.
Mhm.
They're going to enjoy to have you on set. They're going to enjoy having you. They're going to want you on set,
Yeah.
and that's important. It doesn't. They don't. One I Somebody asked me one time, explain to me this extra thing. I saw the HBO's series on it, and I go, yeah, it's kind of like that. But if there's one way to sum it up is hurry up and wait.
Mhm.
Hurry up and wait. But also while you're waiting, they don't want, man, I've been here 4 hours. I could have done this, could have done this. No, but you've been there 8 hours, and then all of a sudden it's time to go on set. It's time to go on set. It's time to do things. It's time to move. And if you don't get up on set, okay, darn,
Yeah.
guess what? You still got paid. A, B, you know, they saw that you were there,
Yeah.
and who knows? You might be sitting next to somebody that's working on a project right now. That's writing a project, and they might like your personality and be like, "Hey, 3 months later, you get a phone call.
and that actually is one of the things that's actually happened with me is, we're going to be meeting with Mako Edenbaum later, who's on Stairway. But, the writer Robbie Mitz, he was talking to me and he's like, I could see you as this character that I'm writing in my movie, called Stairway. And we'll show an ad a little bit later on whenever we introduce Michael. But, you know, it was because he said that I acted professional on set. I was fun to be around, and he enjoyed my look as well as he enjoyed my personality.
Yeah.
And so, he's given me an opportunity to be able to do that in his film, but it was because I met him on set and I met him on Bass Reeves, of all places.
That's awesome.
And so it's just been really cool guy. And actually, I had him on the show pretty recently, Robbie Mitz.
Awesome.
And so this will be the second time that we're playing the trailer on our show, which is going to be cool. And I just wanted to say thanks, Lonnie. I appreciate the gifts. And thanks, Benita. I also appreciate the gifts. So thumbs up to you guys.
I love it.
That's a cool feature, right? And anyways, but if you're interested in getting started in background now, they are not a sponsor or a paid sponsor or anything, and I don't represent them in any way, but go to mycastingfile.com. I'll put it up on the screen. .com, and what you can do is you can create a profile for free. You can upload photos, and you can apply for casting sites. It is ran by Legacy Casting out of Plano, Texas. And they have offices all the way down in Austin. They have representatives everywhere. They're always looking for jobs. Backgrounds always pop up on here, as well as, it's free to apply for the casting calls, which is really cool for a breakdown service. So again, let me see which way it goes. Wrong way. I'm getting used to the camera. And we got right here, mycastingfile.com. All right. Now,
if you need help, you can email me also.
There you go. And you can also follow Chico too. He is on Instagram and Facebook, right? And
yes.
You're on TikTok too, right?
Yes, but not really major on TikTok. More the Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
But I'll start throwing a little bit of TikTok here and there.
Now your Instagram is DJ Chico Garza, right?
DJ Chico Garza, yes.
And then your Facebook is Chico Garza.
Yes.
All right. And before we go, because we do have Michael coming up, and we have about 3 minutes left, and I may bring you back in right at the end, okay?
Right. No problem.
But do you have any last bit of advice for everybody?
Be nice. Be cool. More than anything, don't let anybody, whatever you want to do, whatever you're looking to do, whatever you dream of doing, follow it. If it's something you have a passion for, don't let somebody step on it. And hey, if you've got a friend that has a passion and it has something and it has some kind of talent, don't crush their passion. Don't, just because you don't have that same dream, don't be that guy.
All right. We appreciate it, man.
All right.
Well, hey, you have everybody give Chico Garza a like and a follow. You go to his Facebook, tell him hi, and, email him if you have different questions. He said that you're welcome to reach out.
You're welcome to reach out. I'm here for you. I answer messages. I will answer Instagrams. I will answer whatever you need. And if you need help on your mic casting, by all means, I can help you on that too. And hey, we're here to help each other.
For sure. And we appreciate you today.
Thank you,
Chico. And we're going to be right back with Michael Edenbaum. He's going to be joining us remotely today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the camera while we go on break. We're going to show the Native American course renewal. All right. Thank you guys very much. And we will be right back right after this.
This episode is brought to you by Honeybee Funds. Honeybee is a nonprofit organization set up to help house homeless people that fall through all the cracks of other help. Homelessness in America has skyrocketed since 2020, and it's senseless in the wealthiest country in America. Outside of natural disasters, Honeybee believes there is no reason for homelessness in America. Some people will fall through the cracks because they have no children, no elderly living in their household. Some homeless people are not recovering from drug addiction or recently released from jail. so they are not viewed as priority for housing. Honeybee Funds is set up to help homeless find a home, even if they have large dog that they count as part of their family. Email charliepooch131@gmail.com if you wish to contribute to Honeybee Funds. Now we will return back.
Currently, only 3 out of over 1,000 school districts across Texas have an American Indians Native Studies course, but other school districts such as Austin and San Antonio have expressed their interest to teach this course, which is why we need your help to make sure this course gets renewed this winter. For a little bit of context, the American Indian Native Studies course is currently offered as a pilot course in Grand Prairie ISD, and it is up for renewal at the end of this academic year. The renewal would renew the existing course that is already approved and make it available to teach in school districts across Texas for the next 5 years. Unfortunately, the renewal process has not been placed on the agenda at the State Board of Education meeting this January, which is why we need your help. Because school districts often define their calendar for the next academic year in the early winter, we need this course to be renewed as soon as possible so that it has a chance to be offered next year. Please help us email State Board of Education Chair Kinsey through the link in our bio or in the caption below to make sure that the American Indian Native Studies course renewal and adoption be placed on the next available agenda. Thank you guys so much.
Robert, all you have to do is talk to Emil Bauer and invite her tomorrow. I can't today. I have piano lessons.
You are still a child, and you still have many responsibilities in life that you are yet to accomplish.
Okay, Papa.
Now finish your practicing. Oh my God. Are we being invaded?
Dave always talked about doing something like this. I never knew that he would actually take action.
I'm afraid it just happened. God only knows why he's letting this happen.
I know about these labor camps. They send people out there they're never seen again. There's a war coming. You must escape to America.
I am your father. Listen to me. If you stay, you will die.
Hello, we are back. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us today.
How you doing, little dog? Great to be here.
Doing great, man. I'm glad that you can join us. Man, that is a great trailer. I really like that. That's awesome. Sorry.
It was one of the best put together trailers that I have seen, and it's just a real thrill to be on a project that is just top notch. And Robbie is a hell of a writer. So you guys are both on it, you and your wife. And by the way, I've got a big meeting on Monday. I'm one of the producers, and this may be much bigger than you can even imagine. I'll just leave it at that.
That is awesome. That is great to hear. And I'm excited to see how far this project goes. So that's going to be awesome. Now, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give a quick background and introduction to yourself for our listeners today, our viewers, actually.
Okay. My name is Michael Edenbaum. And I guess my story is, I've been in sales pretty much my whole life. I went to UT 1,000 years ago, and I kind of decided after the pandemic, exactly 1 year and 11 months ago, to give my dream a shot. And I was listening to the Chico interview. I really enjoyed it. He's got some great insight on life. And one of the things he said, I totally agree with it. No matter how crazy or how out there your dream is, there is a chance it actually may come true. You may actually manifest it. And mine started with a friend of mine. When I go places, people tend to tell me I look like this person or that person wherever I go. And sometimes it's a compliment. Sometimes I want to go kill myself afterwards. It was that comment that said, she said, you ought to think about getting an agent. and then maybe doing some commercials, making some money off that. So the next week, I got an agent. The week after that, I got my first commercial. Fast forward to now, and I've just been cast a couple of weeks ago in my 19th film. Been in 7 series. Been cast in a sitcom that hopefully we'll start shooting in the next couple of months. And I feel, honestly, little dog, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night like this can't be true. This is just not normal. But as I told you on our pre-interview, I truly believe that when you finally figure out where you're supposed to be, the universe conspires to assist you. And that has certainly been the case with me. So I am just loving this ride. We're on this earth. You know, when you look at the span of time, we're here for about a minute and a half. So why not take a shot, take a swing? Because you're guaranteed to lose every time if you don't take a swing. So why not? And I did, and I haven't looked back.
Man, that is awesome. That's great to hear. Now, you said that about a year and a half ago is whenever you first started. You went out and somebody convinced you to get an agent. You went out and did that. Did you have any issues whenever you were getting your agent? Did you have any requirements that they needed to have met, or?
No, that's a really good question. It's actually a year and 10 months ago. Actually, a year and 11 months. Not that I'm counting, but no, I was lucky enough to know somebody, and this is my point. Like when you finally are where you're supposed to be, it's like green light, green light. So I had somebody that I knew, and she said, here's my agent. You ought to give them a call. I had no clue who to go to. And within 2 days, okay, well, I want you to do a monologue. I want you to do this, do that. And within a week, I had the agent. And the fact that, can you call that a coincidence? I kind of feel like serendipity, like this was meant to be. It just happened so easily and so quick. And I don't take that for granted, by the way. I know that I was extremely lucky, but it has been a passion of mine for so long. I think that came across in my monologue. And I had some great people right at the beginning giving me very, very good advice on what to do when you start out. So that was the beginning.
Nice, that's awesome. Now, you said that you started in sales, right? What kind of sales were you doing at the time?
Well, actually, when I went to UT, my degree was in advertising, a Bachelor of Science in advertising. And, at that time, you always want to do what your degree is. And you think, what a waste if I don't. And, I did a couple of campaigns and I did some advertising stuff. But when you look at advertising, there's also account executive advertising, which is a sales position. It's, you've got to use some creativity, but it is a sales position. Once I saw that I could do pretty well at that, then I got an offer at a different company having nothing to do with advertising. And you look at your paycheck on one hand and on the other, and it's like, okay, this is a no-brainer. So I went with a thing that is, going to carry me. Because if you're good in sales, you know this. You can pretty much write your own ticket. Every company, product knowledge you can learn, but the ability to speak to somebody, look in their eyes, understand when you're annoying them, understand when you're talking too much, understand when you should shut up. That is a benefit that would work for pretty much any company. And you did the hardest kind of sales that there is on this planet. I have not done that, but I did some pretty incredible stuff at the beginning. And I was so lucky at the age of 25. Sometimes you do something and you think, God, I hope I don't get it, but what if I do? And I applied for this position, 25 years old, for National Sales Market Development Manager for a European company with a small territory called the United States of America. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why am I even trying? And I got the position. And I considered it the Navy SEAL School of Sales Management. They would literally wake you up 3 a.m, throw a product at you, video you doing the presentation, and tear you apart. You scratched your nose 3 times and, you kept looking to the left and you blinked a lot. And everybody was throwing that in. The idea being they break you down and then build you back up again. And once I got through that, and I stayed in that position for 4 years, back and forth from a place called Leeds in the UK, and then coming back. I was living in Dallas at the time and did that for 4 years. And it's like, If I can do that, I can do anything. But I was terrified the entire 4 years. So I wish I could go back and redo that. But it was a blast.
So you were getting an intro to acting right there.
Uh,
They threw a new product at you, told you to do a monologue, and then threw you down and told you how to do it.
You know what? In a way, we're all
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, I mean, we're all actors, whether you're on a date, whether you're just socializing at an event, we all read people and we all try to project what we would like to be. So, and I told you this before, acting, I mean, what a privilege. And I wish I could say this is my line, but we get paid to play pretend. I mean, how fun is that? And it's like we did that when we were kids because it was so fun, and now we get to do it as a profession. I stole that from Jerry Seinfeld, but it is so true. We get paid to be playing pretend, and like Chico said, when I'm on set, and I hope I never lose this, by the way, I'm like that little kid that wanted to be an astronaut. And all of a sudden, I'm in NASA looking at these rockets. It's like I'm in disbelief. I cannot believe I'm in a movie or I'm in a TV show or I'm on a commercial or whatever. So it's a privilege. And I never take 1 minute of it for granted. It's hard work, but we couldn't do 10, 12, 14-hour days if we didn't love it. And we all do those.
And still do training on days off to get better at monologues and scripts, right?
It's funny because when I joined this organization called Austin Entertainment Business Network, AEB, here in Austin, run by a lady named Jennifer Hutchins. She's produced over 250 shows. She worked in LA and then moved here to Austin. And on one of the first meetings, she has all of the top producers, directors, writers. I mean, people that you would never get to meet. All of a sudden, you're in the room with them. And there was a director that said, if you're starting out, do a monologue. Make it whatever you want. Make it from a movie you loved. If you have to record it 57 times before you're happy, do it. Because that will be the launching board for you when you're sitting in an audition. And if you don't have a reel, and for those listening, a reel is clips of stuff that you've done in movies or TV or whatever, you can show them that. And so I did this monologue on the fly, but it was a screenplay that my dad and I wrote when my mom was dying. And we would sit on my patio, and I give my dad credit for coming up with the initial concept. And I did this monologue. It's about 3.5 minutes. And I showed it to my dad and he cried. And here's where it gets kind of spiritual, whether you believe in this or not. When I looked at the monologue, I saw 2 orbs go by. And I don't know if you know anything. I'm a big paranormal fan. I know that was my mom. And it was like, that was a sign that you're finally arrived. You are where you're supposed to be. So I sent that monologue to one of the casting directors. Within the next day, I got booked. And so anybody that is listening that wants to get into acting, that is the number one thing I would tell you to do. And if you have to do it over and over and over, do it until you are happy. You'll know inside whether it's good or not. So yeah, that was the beginning.
Nice, man. That is some great advice. Now, have you noticed that that your experience in sales and marketing has helped you in acting as far as marketing yourself?
Absolutely. And you and I talked about that. Marketing is a big part of it. That's part 2. Part 1 is being able to be okay and not take it personal when you get rejected, because you're going to get rejected more times than you're going to get accepted. 1 out of 30, 1 out of 20 if you're having a good time. And in sales, I'm sure you've heard this, the red bean, black bean. There's one red bean, and that's when the customer says yes. So every time you got a big jar, you've got a bunch of black beans and 1 red bean. Every time you get a rejection, okay, that's 1 black bean out of the jar. That means there's less of them, and I'm getting closer to that red. And so it sets you up for handling rejection, because everybody wants the big part. Everybody wants that commercial. Everybody wants that TV series. When I say everybody, actors. So you're competing with some very dedicated, talented people. So you got to be okay with rejection. And the other thing is, and I've talked to many actors, and I'll tell them, when I get a part, and I've been so blessed, 19 movies in a year and 10 months, I put it out on Facebook and I put it out on Instagram. And I think some actors may think, oh, that's an arrogant thing to do, or yeah, I don't like to brag. No, when you're selling the product, you are the product. And I have actually been cast in stuff because I'll say, I'll put out, just like even on this podcast, you saw how many posts I put out. Really looking forward to being on Today's Entertainment with Little Dog. I really appreciate it. I mean, I've had so many, and by the way, Eric Roberts' brother-in-law texted me and he's going to watch this. And he was on set with me on a different movie. So they see this. They see like, my God, this guy's got another part. He's got another commercial. And I've had casting directors reach out to me based on that. And there was a very big national TV show that I'm not going to mention, but I was sitting at my Cheers, my Perry's at Domain on a Friday night. That's kind of where my go-to is. And I get this text from this big casting director that is doing this giant TV show in Los Angeles. Well, it turns out she really wanted me, but I think she did. I hope she did. But because I'm an actor, that was kind of a no-go. But it has worked for me so many times. So actors that are listening to this podcast, it's not an arrogant thing. And when I talk about acting, when I talk about all the stuff that I do, it's not bragging. It's not arrogance. It's that little kid inside of me, like, I can't believe I get to do this. And you know what? I own it. I hope that part of me never changes, because you can hear it in my voice. You can feel it in my spirit. I love it. I bring that energy to every set I'm on. I have a reputation of being very easy to work with. And, I want to be the Keanu Reeves of actors. Like Chico said, be nice. Be that guy that helps other people. Now I'm a producer on several projects, and I meet people and it's like, you know what? I'm going to cast you at some point, because it comes back to you. That's not why you should do it, by the way, but it does come back to you. And karma, like you said, it's a real thing. It's tangible, and has worked for me.
Awesome, man. That is great. And that is one thing that I think that is a little bit better for something that's a little bit more known in the South, especially down here in Texas, is that we do have a lot nicer personalities. That's not to say that everybody here is nice and kind. However, I think that, some of the experience where some of the actors have come from out of state and come in and worked with us, they've all kind of said the same thing. Man, I love working with Texans. They're so nice, And so, same thing I've received from directors as well, as like, hey, you're very kind, you're easy to work with, and thanks for taking the constructive criticism, not taking it personal. Because like you said, you can't take it personal. If you let that ruin your day, then you're gonna ruin your own opportunities. And
Yeah.
so, like you said, I did door-to-door sales, and I did magazines. I've done roofing for the longest, actually. And I'm used to rejection. You being in sales, you're used to rejection. You build up that thick skin. You also know that, hey, I got to keep getting better, because the clients, they evolve. The industry evolves. So you got to keep evolving with the times and with the industry, which is something that you got to do also in acting. Because if you don't evolve and keep improving, you end up falling behind.
Absolutely.
Now, whenever we did do our preliminary call, we went over a struggle that you had, that something that, was pretty debilitating. And I want to give you props for, being here still, I didn't give any clue as to what it was, because I wanted you to go over it. Would you mind go ahead and sharing that for us too?
Oh, this will be the feel-good moment of the interview. Happy times. I think this is part of my spirit. There's humor in everything, especially in some of the darkest moments. And I make jokes about it. And, because look, when I went through what I went through and look where I am now, you got to laugh during life. And, there was an interview I saw with Mike Myers, and his family was, I think they were British. And he says, the way they looked at life is you have silly moments, and then every once in a while you have a serious moment, but that serious moment is just to get you to the next silly moment. And that may or may not resonate with people listening right now, but it did to me. And my family, my mom and my dad, have such a wonderful sense of humor. There's beauty and there's humor, even in the darkest moments in life. And it's perspective. It's how you look at it. And so when my mom passed away 10 years ago, the following year, 2016, and they always say, when you have a traumatic thing that happens in your life, it can trigger stuff in your body. And it's true. Your body is an organism and it's infected by the environment, but mainly it's affected by what you think about. You become what you think about every waking moment. And I got a bizarre form of cancer. And I didn't even know this cancer existed. It was on my tonsil, on this side, left tonsil. And, again, I'm going to be an open book, whether I sound weird or not. I don't care. But my mom and my dad and, several people, my grandmother, my sister, we have this ability, that what we call a gift, of knowing things before they happen. Stuff that defies quantum physics, defies any kind of logic. And I told you this, I told a friend of mine who went to Harvard and Yale, very logical, Goodwill Hunting kind of brain. And I told him his wife's name 6 months before he met her. How could I have possibly known that? And that's one, by the way, the monologue that I did, one of the improv lines I did, and I said, I've somehow tapped into what is the phrase? The consciousness of the universe, the consciousness stream of the universe. So imagine there's like a radio signal going by, and every once in a while we can tap into it and hear just a few words. And that's kind of how I feel my gift works. And I had this kind of what felt like, if you've ever had cedar fever, anybody living in Texas knows what that is. And it feels like, your throat's a little bit scratchy from pollen or whatever. Day 1, day 2, day 3. And I'm thinking, okay, usually after a few days, it goes away. And I just started a software job 2 days prior. And I found myself sitting in this job. It was a big software position. And it's like I was in a movie. I saw my body getting up and walking to my boss. And I said, I'm going to have to take tomorrow off because I saw a doctor and he said that it's a little more serious than what they thought. And I'm listening to these words come out of my mouth and it's like, what the hell am I doing? And fast forward, I go to the doctor the next day and those exact words came out of his mouth. And he sent me to a specialist. They thought it was tonsil, an infected tonsil. And turns out they took my tonsils out as an adult. And it's very, very painful if you've never had that done as an adult. Nothing compared to what I went through after that. But actually, in a weird way, it helped my recovery because they took out everything. And then when they found out what it was cancer on my left tonsil. And my spirit, my energy said, do not do chemo. This is just a personal decision. So I only did radiation. And I have some scarring right here. No chemo, and I got it pretty early. I think it was stage 2, between stage 2 and stage 3. And it's one of the few cancers that you can call cured if you get through it. It is hands down the most painful cancer in the cancer world, because if you've ever had the worst sunburn you've ever had in your life, times 1,000, and put it on your throat, every time you inhale, every time you exhale, every time you turn your neck, every time you talk, it is a dagger. And it lasts for about a year. So I lost 35 pounds. I could only drink 1 Ensure 3 times a day. And it took me 45 minutes to drink the Ensure. I'd be shaking because I knew once I took that swallow, it would be a pain that would make me almost pass out. And but you learn to trick your mind and go places and pretend like you're not in your body. At least that's what I did. Like you, I did martial arts and scuba diver training, and I took my mind to a calmer place. And what's really ironic, and it's almost kind of, I go back to the sense of humor. The universe has a sense of humor. Here I am, and I've got the worst kind of cancer there is as far as pain. And I just got cast in a movie a week ago. And one of the comments the director said is, and he wrote it out, he goes, and the the villain or the bad guy in the movie will be Michael Edenbaum. His cinematic voice will be an awesome thing to listen to. I'm paraphrasing, and I'm thinking I have a cinematic voice thanks to cancer. And so, they always say you get a gift after cancer. Well, I certainly did. And, there's a reason we all go through these things. So when you're in the worst part of your life and you think it's never going to come out of it, I almost died. And I told you this, little dog, I was on the floor and I couldn't get a breath. And I thought, okay, I can either go home or I can stay. And I had that choice. And I taught myself down and I got one breath, which means I can get two. And I taught my way back into it. And look at what I'm doing now. I am living a dream, this little 6-year-old kid growing up in Dallas, Texas, to be a movie star. And I'm actually doing it. So whatever you're going through right now, there are brighter days ahead. Just look at it like, okay, I'm supposed to learn something from this, and there's going to be a gift afterwards. That's the way I believe you should look at it. So there's a very long answer to your very short question.
No, that's perfect, and I appreciate you going into that because, going back to even our first interview with Chico a little bit earlier, he said, be grateful that, you have every day and every day that you're alive, because you never know when something's going to happen. And for most people, I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the normal people will be like, I'm throwing in the towel,
Yeah.
I'm ready to quit this, just kind of give up on life. But it goes to show that if depending on which way is right for you, it is possible to overcome that, come back, and be able to start living a dream.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
do you think
And
that
when
kind
you're,
of reality? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. When you're busy making plans, the universe is laughing, so you're trying to go this way, swim against the current, and the current's trying to take you this way. Sometimes you got to trust that current. You got to believe that. Why is this happening? There's got to be a reason. Sometimes if you just let go and let it take you to where you're supposed to be, you're going to find out. So don't fight everything. Even bad things have happy endings.
Yeah,
You
man,
should.
that is. And it's cool to see where you're at now, man. And you bring a definite positivity. Especially talking to you on the phone and everything. You're very, very positive person, which is really awesome. And I would say, it's good to see somebody else who has experience in sales get into this and be like, hey, it's the same experience that I've used before, and just translated it over into it because, like you said, we're always trying to sell ourselves, and the same goes for acting. You got
Yeah.
to sell yourself to get the role, and then, but the thing is that whenever you show up, you got to show up. Be ready to prove why you were the best choice for that.
Yeah, and
And
it's
so,
a stair step. I was terrified. I don't know about you. The first time you were on set, I was beyond excited and terrified at the same time. But I think in life, you're supposed to do something kind of scary every day, because if you don't, you're not growing. Um, and I think it was George Clooney that says, success teaches you nothing. Failure, that's what teaches you every time. And I went from a shy kid in Dallas, Texas. I couldn't get a girl to look at me. And to think that as a profession, I'm now standing in front of 65 crew members with 3 cameras and a boom mic and lighting and this and that. And you would think it would be like, oh my God, I'm going to faint. I've got a friend of mine. She always says, I don't know how you could possibly be in front of all those people and not just faint. And the first couple of times, it was scary as hell. And, when everybody's looking at you, especially when you start getting bigger roles. I've got a red carpet premiere in Austin on the 17th for a film called Dovey's Promise. If you don't mind, little dog, if I just throw out a plug.
yeah, no problem.
And it's a very powerful, true story about a lady named Debbie Roundtree, and she was a civil rights attorney in 1964. She went up against the Department of Justice, and if you think about how our country was in '64 with the racism and all of that, and she won. She was defending a young black man who was accused of murder, JFK's last mistress, Mary Meyer, and I had a role as a DOJ prosecutor, and it was a monologue. And I'm in front of all the crew members, multiple cameras, lights, boom, and 12 jurors, the judge, the stenographer, the other prosecution table, the defense table, and Michael, action. And you have to remember, because once you start, you got to go through it. I'm interrogating an FBI firearms expert, and inside, I literally was like, I think I'm going to faint, But once you get those next 2 or 3 words, if you prepare, and I did, I prepared for months. It was the most awesome experience, and knowing that this is a true story. And I can't believe that I got to be in a movie like that. And here we are doing an old Hollywood style red carpet at a theater here in Austin on the 17th. And anybody that is in Austin, if you go to Eventbrite and look up Dubby's Promise, you can buy a ticket to the premiere. And we're going to have step and repeat and, old fashioned Hollywood, lights, camera, all of that. And, and I get to have my family. My dad, it's a little tough for him to sit that long in the theater, but I got a copy of the film and I was able to show him. And, to look around at my friends and my family. And now this is terrifying. I don't know if you agree with this, but I'm like, I saw an interview about Gene Hackman. He couldn't watch his own movies, or he had a lot of trouble watching them. I'm the same way. And they asked him why. And he said, because I'm afraid I'll hear the person next to me say, like, God, he looks weird. Or I'll notice, oh man, my nose looks big or whatever. So I'll kind of watch a movie like that. But inside it's like, God, I get to do this. I get to play pretend for real. And I'm on a real movie on a giant screen and everybody's looking at it. And it literally is like a fantasy. I'm like a 6-year-old kid. So thank you for letting me plug that.
Oh, no problem, man. That's what this show is about. We support independent film, artists of all types, so you're more than welcome. And, anybody else who, I want to put it out there, anybody else who comes on the show, more than welcome to plug your projects, because I have no problem with it. That's what this platform is to help promote yourself. And I'm glad that you're actually able to do that. So that's why we made this.
Little Dog is famous in LA because I told my buddy Burt Floyd, he was on Dawson's Creek, and he was in another movie with me. And I hope he didn't get mad at me for saying this, but his father-in-law is Eric Roberts. And so you're getting famous on the West Coast now, because I know he's going to watch this and probably spread the word for me. So I'm not just plugging me, I'm plugging you as well.
I appreciate it. And that's why we're here. We're all here to help each other, because I'm not one of those people that are, hey, I'm getting more well known, by everybody else. I'm the kind of person, and I used to be a sales manager, general manager, the same exact way. I'm like, hey, the tide is rising. We all rise.
Exactly.
So I don't want to be that kind of person that's like, oh yeah, I started in the background, but you know what? Forget all those guys. No, I want everybody to move up. I want everybody to do better. And with the way that technology is today, there's really no excuse. There are films shot on iPhones. Really good at editing, but it's about going for your passions. Maybe you're a good writer. Maybe that's your niche, and that's where you should keep focusing and keep striving at. But one thing I can say is that because I have been writing here lately, and I can say that acting, because I was writing before a long time ago, and I wrote some really funny stuff that unfortunately I'll never have access to. However, I also I think that acting has actually helped out with the way my writing goes, because I do have the experience from the acting side, as well as being like, okay, you know what, that is kind of possible. This is realistic. And so I'll get to writing something that I mean to be very short. And then next thing I know, I'm like writing a whole lot. And I'm like, whoa, I'm still going. And it just keeps getting better and better,
It's funny. I heard an interview with an actor who had worked with Jack Nicholson, and they were doing a scene, and then they cut, and they were kind of sitting there together. I can't remember who the actor is. It'll come to me. Matt Damon, maybe. I don't remember. But he said that all of a sudden Nicholson looked at him and said, I wouldn't have gotten this far in my career if I hadn't been a great writer. That's a horrible Nicholson. But yeah, I mean, that's when you are a writer, because if you are on a good set and a director is open to it, um, Nicholson gave this analogy on a certain scene. He said, they told him to do something and then shoot the girl and she falls over. And he says, can I just kind of keep the camera rolling? And he threw in about 6 or 7 lines because he was a psychotic killer in this movie. And each line was more and more creepy. And the director was able to pick and choose a few of those out of the 6 he did. They took 3 of them and they added it to the film. So when I say a writer, sometimes if you're with, I've had good directors that will allow me to improv. In fact, on Stairway, Robbie and the director allowed me to kind of ad lib a few lines that I did on a very emotional scene. And even when you, in fact, because you're ad libbing and your language isn't perfect and it comes off a little jagged, it comes off more natural that way. And so I was very lucky, and the Stairway is a perfect example of that. In fact, I just finished reading the final draft of the script, and I have an idea of another scene or an addition to a scene. And I've talked to the other 2 producers, and I'm going to actually meet with them on Monday and kind of pitch that idea for this film. So yeah, being a writer, even as an actor, it's a good thing. It's a good practice because if you're a good actor, you're not acting the character. You are the character. That is a number 1 rule in acting. If you're acting, then you're not doing it. You've got to be that character. And sometimes when I'm in character, stuff comes out of my mouth that I didn't even think about. And that's when you're onto something.
Mm-hmm. And I'll admit, I was, especially the first time that I was on set and, doing lines on camera, I was very nervous because in my mind, I was like, oh no, I'm going to mess up. Oh
Mhm.
no, I'm going to do something wrong. I'm going to forget my lines. And, it came out and it was a little rough at first, but all of the lines were there. All of it was in my memory. And it was like, I remember the whole page and everything. And I went through it and I did pretty good.
Yeah.
I felt like I was a bit corny in it, but I always think I'm worse than I actually am.
Yeah.
And it's still an unreleased project that we're working on, and we just finished writing not too long ago. I
Mhm.
was added to the writing team for that one, so pretty excited for that to actually come through. We decided to forego the episodes and do an entire movie, and
Yeah.
so whenever that comes out a little bit later, I'll go ahead and throw that out. But you know, for me, I started getting to this point to where at first I didn't quite trust it, but I would get to this point to where I was like channeling another person, like I am the character.
Yeah.
And at first, like I said, I was nervous, I was kind of sweaty, I didn't know what was going on. I kind of did, but I didn't. I was like, I'm gonna mess up, I know it. But
Still do. We
then I
all.
watched it, and then I watched it on the clips that they sent me, and I was like, you know what, I wasn't too bad. I wasn't
Yeah.
as bad as I thought I was gonna be. And and
You're
I would
always.
say that sorry.
You're always your worst critic. As actors, we are always see things that a lot of other people would not see in our performance because you and I have seen behind the curtain. And,
Mhm.
a lot of people won't notice the things. In fact, it's funny you were talking about background acting. I had a question for you because Brad Pitt did 2 years of background. So you're right. Lots of big actors did background. And it's a double-edged sword because once you do background, like I was a Texas Ranger on Walker on the last season. And once you do the background and you understand how everything works, now, do you have the same thing when you watch a movie or a TV show? You know exactly when that guy walked off camera, I know what was right next to it. And it almost ruins it for you, but it also makes it kind of cool. It's a double-edged sword. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, and actually, so on Bass Reeves, I was, that's my first starter's background, and I say this all the time that I turned it down first time, being offered, and I really did because I didn't really think of myself as being an actor. I saw myself going a different direction and doing construction and whatnot. But after a while, I went ahead and got into it. Now, that's always a little misconception because I had been acting before. I had been doing small plays that I was writing for, this ministry that we were at. And in high school even, I was, on that project, where I was the lead of Goatman Prophecies, and I was super nervous. I didn't know what I was doing then either. And it was nearly all improv on our part,
Yeah.
and we were running around with the camera, and you know, the way that it was originally scripted was not the way that it went. And
Yeah.
so, I'm pretty happy, even that too. It's not as cheesy as I thought it was gonna be, but I never saw myself on the acting side. Yet all my life I've kind of been going along with the acting.
Right.
And oh, sorry. Sorry, my computer kind of crashed a little bit. But that's why I also have Will's taking care of a lot of the computer stuff for me, because my computer's a dinosaur.
I
But
might have some competition. Yeah.
but you know, I grew up shy too. I was a shy kid. I didn't really talk to people. I wore headphones in order to avoid talking to people.
Yeah.
And so to be where I am now, to be in the sales, one of the teachers that I used to go to a speech class in Browning High School. And the teacher is actually who got me onto the speech team. And because I would write these really good speeches, and then I turn them in and I'll try to go up there and say it in front of her class. And that wasn't happening because I would get too sweaty. I'd get too nervous. And then I'll walk off and she's like, I don't get it. You write such beautiful speeches, but you just can't give any. And so she had me start doing the expository speaking class. And so it was pretty cool because I got to be, because we didn't really have anybody that was in it, and so I was the varsity expository speaker, and that helped me out quite a bit too. Even giving presentations, I do presentations for Medicare, navigating Medicare, Medicare 101 classes. I do presentations on IULs. And it all goes back into her encouraging me to do that, because before then I was completely shy. I wouldn't talk in front of anybody, and now I feel a lot more comfortable about it because I did go through that, because I did go through the sales training, because I already, went through the training of, if you don't try, your answers already know.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so, it's refreshing again to have somebody who with sales experience to come on and, be able to give the same perspective, and to see how
You know,
successful that you're being in your career, and you've been able to translate sales over to acting.
absolutely. And it's, I mean, even though I've done it a long time, I'm referring to sales. And I mean, I remember my first AEB meeting, that organization I just told you about. And here I am. And if you're a VIP member, which I was, you're allowed to go up on stage at these events and talk about whatever projects you're working on. And like I told you, I try to do something scary almost every day, that makes you feel uncomfortable, because I think that's why we're here. And I remember standing there and I'm holding the microphone and I'm literally seeing it shake, because James Cameron's biographer, Chris DeBeck, is right there. There's a big time director that just won a South by Southwest Best Picture over there. There's these actors and producers. I mean, these are giants in the industry. And I'm sitting here going like that, and I'm about to talk about, the little movie I did after the coffee commercial. And I forced myself to do it. And, because of my voice, I think it sometimes it reaches out, even though I don't want it to. And I got so many people coming up to me afterwards. And I remember this director saying, man, I could just sense your energy. And he and I are now good friends, a guy named Lance Larson. He's out of Dallas, and he's directed quite a few things. And my dream was to be in one of his movies. He's big time. And every time he said, Michael, I want you to do me a favor. Every time you get a project, send me an email. And I'm thinking, I don't even know why this guy's talking to me, and yet he's asking me to do this. And he gave me the advice that whenever you're on set, if you're a beginner, even if it's you're bringing coffee, make sure it's the best coffee they've ever had. Bring positive energy to the set. Ask what you can do for them. Don't ask, oh, can I be in your movie or whatever? Offer you to help. And that's the kind of people that I would like to work with, meaning he likes to work with. And I'll never forget that advice. And I remember driving home telling my dad, and I also met the guy that does all the reality TV shows on MTV. And he stopped me before I went out and he says, you know what? You've got the look. Keep doing what you're doing. And I remember it's like, these are signs from the universe to tell me this is the path I'm supposed to be on. But yeah, it is so scary when you get up in front of people, especially other actors and producers, because they're looking at you as competition, and they know, what it's like to speak in public, and if you seem nervous or if you can come across as intelligent and calm. And Little Dog, if you don't mind, there's two other plugs that I've promised some people. There's a film that I'm going to be doing the trailer at the end of this month called Anderson County. I don't know if you've heard of it, Chris Siegler. And he cast me in a part for this movie. And one of my favorite movies of all time was No Country for Old Men, Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin and Javier Bourdain. And he says it's in the same light as No Country for Old Men. Before he could finish his sentence, I'm in. And so we're doing the trailer at the end of this month, and then the feature after that. And the other thing, it's very kind of you to let me do all this. I'm with a new project that has nothing to do with acting, but for all of you single people out there, especially if you're 35 and older, me and two friends, Misty and Kelly, came up with a group called SODA, SODA, and it stands for Sick of Dating Apps. And I think a lot of people can relate to that phrase. And we're in Austin. We may be expanding very quickly, but we're in Austin. And it goes back to how people used to meet, face to face, not swiping left, swiping right, a shiny new butterfly. We actually did our first event. We thought we'd have 5 people. 25 showed up. Our second event is going to be in East Austin on 5th Street at a place called Industry. And that's ironically the same place. I had several AEB meetings, a really cool restaurant bar. And so if you go to Facebook groups and look up SODA, please join us on the 22nd. And you're going to meet a lot of people that are sick of dating apps, just like you are. And you're all there for the same reason. So it's a very interactive way to meet people. So that's another project. I appreciate you letting me plug.
Yeah, for sure. And people can check it out right there.
We're good.
And I'm actually familiar with Anderson County, which I don't want to give anything away, but I may see you there sometime.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Chris is actually a very, very good friend of mine as well. And he's actually a really cool guy. He's been a guest on the show earlier.
Yeah.
And it's one of our very popular videos as well too. He took time and he did what I expected actors to do, which is the correct thing to do. You want to share the video around because that's an interview of them getting to know you.
Exactly.
And getting to know, the actor behind it, and that spreads your name. Of course, it spreads my name, but it also spreads your name too. And this is for marketing. This is for using to advertise yourself and promote yourself as an actor, especially being Texas based, and the agents wanting to again, increase the status of Texas actors to be able to compete with other markets such as LA and New York. They don't want other actors brought in for the major parts. They want those roles to be for Texas actors and filled by Texas actors. And so that puts a responsibility on us to keep improving ourselves to bring us to be able to compete with that. So that's what I strive to do, is to be able to be competitive on the full side market, and be able to take the roles that are offered here in Texas, because there are a lot coming. We have Taylor Sheridan always making his TV series here. And not only that, there's been other ones like, Chris is starting to make his films as well. Robbie is making films. There's Texas directors that are rising up, just, putting stuff out there that's really good stuff and have a great storyline and being able to put together wonderful trailers. I mean, the picture on Stairway was great. It looks like a Hollywood production type, and it's here in Texas, which looks great. It sounded great too. It's got a great sound to it. You did a great accent.
You know how I learned that?
How's that?
I had to learn an Austrian accent because the family, this is a true story, it's Robbie's family, and they were based in Vienna, Austria. And if you know anything about language, and I've always been able to pick up accents pretty quickly, not all, but a few. And the Austrian accent is like this. It's up and down and up and down. German is, very rigid. And
Yeah.
very, very different. So I went on YouTube and I listened to Christopher Waltz, one of my favorite actors. You've seen him in Inglourious Bastards and Tarantino movies, and of course Schwarzenegger. So I listened to those over and over and over. But my family, part of my family, I believe, was in the Holocaust. I believe in a past life. I know that sounds freaky, but I've told you this. I believe I was in the Holocaust. When I went to the Holocaust Museum in DC and in New York, I mean, my knees almost buckled when I touched the rail car. It was like I've been there. And so when I went into that character, this is probably going to be the most important movie I ever do. This is why when I tell you this is going to be much bigger than you can even imagine, if we get the funding that I think we will, we're going to shoot part of it in Vienna, Austria. This is the kind of movie, and I'm manifesting this out there because it is such a beautiful script. Robbie's a genius when it comes to writing. This is the kind of script that the Academy Awards will pay attention to. Remember, I said that.
All right. We got proof of it. I mean, it's gonna be on Spotify and it's gonna be on YouTube forever. So, what's that?
You're recording this?
Of course. Yeah, like I said, every Wednesday we do a live. Every Friday we put out an episode on Spotify.
I know, I was joking.
And so,
I'm all the time.
and so I love this film. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it, but I guess younger me knew I was gonna like it as well. It's hard to explain, because like I said, I did turn it down when it was first offered.
Yeah.
But looking back to my history, it makes sense that I would end up here at the same time just because of this different stuff that I'd been into in the past.
Absolutely.
And to kind of see it come forth and be in action, and being able to see myself. And even on Bass Reeves, I had some slight camera time there, but it was like a really close up to big old fat cheek because I used to be a lot bigger than I was. And I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, wait, I recognize that line. I was there that day.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that I was looking for myself as a reflection because it was supposed to be reflection work.
Yeah.
But whenever I noticed it, I was like, oh, that is me right there. That's my hat going that way. It was kind of cool.
You're in Stairway and your wife is in Stairway. And isn't it kind of funny that, I mean, the acting community in Texas is small in comparison to New York and LA, but it's a lot of people. But it's funny that you make so many good friends that you haven't even met yet. Because I knew about you long before just from like my friend Levon, people that he and I were FBI agents on a film. I was a Texas Ranger and he was on Walker. And then, we all kind of like, we know each other. And then finally we actually meet. And it's just, and Amy, by the way, that cold look that she gave as the teacher and then walked away. It's like, oh my God, that's this movie has got some really, really talented people in it. So I can't wait to make this happen.
I told her just to act like she was mad at me.
Say that again.
I said I told her just to act like she was mad at me.
It worked. Really bad.
But it was cool because we saw that the role had we saw the casting call for it.
Yeah.
And Amy was nice. Amy was she was asking me, should I apply for this? And I was like, I mean, you're more than welcome to try. Do it. Go for it, as Robbie. I know Robbie. Robbie's an awesome guy. And then Robbie hit me up after she applied, and she was like, hey, so Amy asked me about a role. I think it was a different role that was being cast. And he was like, well, that one's already kind of filled. Do you think that I can give her a shot? Do you think that she's going to be good on there? I was like, hey man, give her a shot, see what she has, she might surprise you. And I told her, I was like, hey, she had a great aunt, great aunt, I think it is, that was a guard at Auschwitz.
Wow.
And so he was like, oh, okay. So I was like, yeah, so she has, German roots.
Yeah.
And whenever, you know, she went and did it, he was like, hey, Amy did awesome and all this other stuff. I was like, awesome. I'm glad it worked out. Glad I was
Yeah.
able to help out, And so I try to help out wherever I can. I try to help everybody elevate themselves.
It comes back,
I'm
man.
not afraid of anybody succeeding. I want everybody to succeed, in fact. You know, some people
Absolutely.
think that I'm always competing with people. I'm like, I'm not competing really. What I'm doing is if I rise, everybody rises with me. That's how I want it to be. I don't want to be one of the ones like early on in my episodes, I haven't brought this up in a while, but you know, I explained some people as bucket crabs. I saw it on one of George Lopez's TV shows where you start moving up or somebody starts moving up, they start grabbing you, pulling you back down.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you brought up Levon. Levon's actually a really cool guy, really
He's a
salty,
sweet.
but
Yeah.
he's a really awesome guy. And so
He gets
definitely
mad
props to
because
him
I'm
too.
much taller than him.
What's that?
He gets mad because I'm so much taller than him.
You're taller than him?
He's 6'4". No, I'm not taller.
I was like, no way.
Oh, no.
You gotta be like Daniel Warrior tall.
No, he's about 4 inches taller than me, but he's a sweetheart. And I told Levon, I said, "Man, you," and he just got a role. I'm sure you know about this, the film that he's going to be in, because he was doing background. And I told him, I said, "Just try, go get some speaking lines." And I'm like you, little dog. I mean, especially now that I'm producing as well. I pay it forward. I want to cast the people that I like. I want to bring Levon in, and you, and Chris, and Amy, and all these people that put off good energy. And I told you this, one of my favorite sayings is from Einstein: negative people will find a problem for every solution. And what I try to do is gravitate my circle around people. And you can tell how you feel when you walk away from somebody. That's how you can judge a person. And if you feel inspired, happy, motivated, whatever it is, then that's your people. And that's what I try to do. And I'm on a journey, and I'm on a path that I don't deserve in one way, but in another way I kind of do, because I'm really working hard, and I'm trying to be a really good person. And I want to be able to give so much to other people, bring them into a movie that they never would have had a shot on, have somebody that's never done acting as an extra. I mean, it's so fun, and it's such a cool world. And when you're sitting at a place, you're not going to say, "Oh, tell me." So what? You're an accountant? Tell me all about that. That doesn't usually happen, but this when people find out that we're actors. Oh my God! Really? What have you been in? Da, da, da. And it's a long conversation, because we are so privileged, again, to get paid to play pretend. And I love it.
Oh, that is
And
for
if there's
sure.
if there's any casting directors, producers, uh, I would love to be part of your project. I promise you, I will bring nothing but positivity to the set. And even if you don't want me to be in it, if I can help, if I can recommend people, I'd be glad to do that. I know you're connected with Ronnie, casting director there, and a lot of other people, because I really truly believe if you can help other people, it comes back to you. And and I am so privileged and happy to be able to do what, because I don't know how longer I'm going to be in this world, or no, nor do you. So why not have some fun? We're on this vacation. We're at Turks and Caicos. You going to sit in the hotel room, or are you going to go out and have some fun at the beach? And that's what I want to do. How's that for an analogy?
That's a great analogy. And I love that, how this podcast is turning out. I do have high hopes for the podcast because I do want it to keep growing. I want to eventually make it around and be able to, support all sorts of films, all sorts of, actors come through here. And I'd love to see everybody who passes through, especially to be much more successful, to be a better version of yourself than you were before, and always keep growing, always keep getting better. And, you know, tough times are going to come, Acting is like being self-employed. You are self-employed. You're in charge of your marketing, especially in the beginning. And it goes like this, where everything is going great, and then it has its slump sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's also where being self-employed kind of helps out a bit too, because in business it's the same exact way. It's not always up, up, up. There are going to be some times where it kind of goes sideways, sometimes where it goes down.
Absolutely.
But you got to stay positive, and that's why I wanted this one to be a bit more about mindset too, because you have that mental toughness from being in sales. I do encourage people to try out sales because it is tough. However, it is also acting too,
Yeah.
because you're sitting there and you're marketing yourself. You do have a script for the product that you have. However, you're marketing yourself because, for me at least, in roofing, I'm one of 75,000 roofers or more than that here in DFW. Or I was, one of, or per square mile, there were 7,500 roofers. That's what it was. And so the only difference between me and everybody else was me. We got the same materials, we got the same vendors. We're literally doing the same exact thing. The only difference is you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's why I like acting, because it all transitioned over. So you got to keep the mindset right. And for me, whenever I had rough times, or especially walking, knocking doors, and there's a ton of rejection there.
Yeah.
I had a happy song that I would always go back to, and it always brought me a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know if you have one as well, but I know for me, are you familiar with Phineas and Ferb?
With who?
Phineas and Ferb. It's a
No.
cartoon. No, it's a cartoon, and it's a Disney cartoon, but it's about two brothers and whatnot. But they have this pet named Perry. Is Perry the platypus, and he's also a secret agent.
True,
And so, huh?
true story?
Yeah, this is a cartoon,
No, I'm
and the platypus, his secret agent side, has his own catchphrase. And so, or his own catchphrase, his own music, his own theme song. And it starts off with dooby 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 doo, Perry. And that always brought a smile on my face, and that always kept me in a positive mood and knocking doors and keep going forward. And so whenever I face tough times and challenges here, in life, period, I start thinking my happy song and I smile and I'm like, everything's gonna be okay.
You know,
You
it's,
know?
can I just squeeze in one little tiny tidbit?
Yeah.
I don't have a song, but it's so interesting that you said that. When I worked at Dell, and that's, you talk about a tough gig. I was at Dell for a year, and this was right before my mom started getting sick, and it was the toughest sales there. I mean, you probably heard the reputation. It was a great company to work for, but it was probably 450 emails a day. Every time you finish one, ding, 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 and they never go away. And I remember thinking, how do I get through this? How do I stay positive? And it just kind of hit me. It wasn't a song that was in my head, but I pictured, I know this is going to sound weird, but I pictured if I put out positivity and love, it will come back. And I pictured this white smoke resonating out of my head and my body, and it's infectious, and people will feel it. And Little Dog is as honest as I can be. Within minutes after I started manifesting that in my head, people smiled at me, people gravitated to me a little bit more. And I'm thinking, is this coincidence? And they probably saw I had more of a pleasant look on my face or whatever, but it actually worked. And I really do believe that the human spirit is able to do that. If you could picture that white smoke coming out, it's like, I think I told you this story. When you have a road rage incident, somebody cuts you off. You ever notice? Then it's like a second thing happened, and then a third thing happens, because you're in that negative mindset, and you're mad and you're angry and you're putting off black smoke. And of course, that's what comes back to you. So as much as you can, put out that white smoke. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this acting thing. I'm getting offers and stuff that I don't even understand how I'm getting them, but I try to just, I guess the one word more than anything is I'm just so grateful I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to not have cancer anymore. I'm grateful to be in movies and TV shows and help other people and be on Little Dog's podcast. I mean, everything that I ever wanted to do, I'm getting to do. So I feel nothing but grateful, and it's coming back to me tenfold. So to me, that's the lesson in life.
That is awesome, man. And that is a very good point. And so, uh, man, I really do appreciate you coming onto the podcast.
This was
It's been great. It's been a pleasure having you on. And in the future, whenever I do have, because I still am getting closer and closer to an actual stage, you know, to run it kind of like a late night style type thing. Whenever that happens, I definitely want to invite all of my guests back to the show and bring you guys back on for another interview to catch up, see where you're at. Excitedly hear about the new progress that you guys made and different projects that you're promoting next. And so, and I would love for you to come up to, because it'll be probably in the Dallas area, from what I'm hearing, but it'll be great to see you come up and be on the show again
I'd love
and have you in person. So
And by the way, it's funny, and it runs in families. My grandfather was a symphony. He's a bass player in the Fort Worth Symphony, and he played with Bob Hope as well. And my cousin was Shecky Green. You're probably too young to know who that is, but he was an old time comic. He actually hosted the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson many times, and that's in my family. So I guess I'm a little late to the game, but we have entertainment in my family. So I forgot to mention that to you.
that is awesome.
Thank you, Little Dog. I'm sorry to take up so much time, but it's been a real honor. If you want me to give out my contact, if anybody has questions or want to contact me, I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook, Michael Edenbaum, and I'm on Instagram, M, like my first initial, M Edenbaum. And you can definitely find me on IMDb. And just type in my name, Michael Edenbaum. And Little Dog, the more visitors we get on IMDb, the better our star meter is. So you would be doing me a big favor by going there. But yeah, it's if there's anybody that has any questions or needs some help or just whatever, just feel free to reach out.
Okay. Awesome, man. I really appreciate you. And it's good to have this, because people do need a reminder that you got to have your mindset right.
Absolutely.
Because the only one that's going to destroy you is you.
Absolutely.
And so we stand in our own ways so many times that we want to cheat our own success. It's kind of like a self-sabotage. Things are going great. Next thing you know, something bad's going to happen. So you expect it to happen. So it happens. You draw it to you, and you're a great example of going forward and keep going forward and spreading the positivity, and it's coming back to you, which is a great example to give, because it looks like you jumped in and it just shot off for you, but you bring that good energy to yourself, and you've put in the work, you've put in a lot of hard work as well, and you've paid quite a price to be where you're at, health wise, and to see you overcome that and give another reason to say there's no excuse why you can't do it.
Absolutely. I can't believe. I mean, I'm no better, no different than anybody else listening to this podcast. The only thing different is I started to imagine, what if it works, instead of what we usually do. Yeah, it probably won't work. What if it doesn't work? I started picturing as if it's already happened. I kind of like have memories of things that have not happened yet, if that makes any sense. And that's called manifestation. And I'm a big believer in it. So, yeah, I'd love to come back. And it's like that old Seinfeld when Kramer got the old Merv Griffin set and had the people in. It'd be funny to have you do that old school late night talk show. That would be a blast. Count me in.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. And I look forward to it. Thank you very much. And again, go follow Michael Edenbaum on Facebook, Instagram, and check out his IMDb as well. And that way, give a plug. So there it is. I think it's because I'm on as the host, and Chico was on my camera, so we were able to get it going that way. So
my dog behind me.
I appreciate it, guys. All right,
You.
and I appreciate you very much. Now, would you like to go ahead and tell everybody good night as well?
Yeah, thank you for everybody listening from all over the world and multiple planets, because this podcast is a skyrocket. And I really appreciate everybody listening. And, like I keep saying, life is just about a minute and a half. Go out and have some fun. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? At least you have a shot. Buy that lottery ticket, because if you don't, you're not going to win. And your unrealistic dream can come true, because I am living proof of that. So I wish everybody happiness and health.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And then we're going to have one more person tell us good night tonight. And thank you, Michael. I'm going to take you off stage so that way he can say his part tonight. And we're going to make sure that everything uploads, okay? Before I fully release you.
Appreciate
Okay?
it.
All right. Thank you very much. And so last person to tell us good night is, hold on. Let's go ahead and put this over by you.
No problem. Thank you again for listening, watching, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching to today's episode. And make sure you check out all the episodes of today's Entertainers with Little Dog. Once again, my name is DJ Chico Garza. I had the great pleasure of being in the studio today. Thank you again. And I look forward to doing it again. And hey, check us out very, very soon. Actually, probably you are going to be on next week. He'll be on next week. Today's Entertainers with Little Dog. Check them out every week. This Friday, you can check it out on Spotify. Thank you again.
And thank you, Chico. We really appreciate that. Now, next week we have some. Sorry about that. We have some really cool guests and a really good show lined up for you. We have Michael who's going to be joining us remotely, as well as he's a director, he's an actor. He's been doing some amazing stuff down there in Houston area. He's out in another state right now filming, and so we're excited to have him on, as well as Callie Faye. She's you know, she's the head of magazine publications. She's written books. She's writing and directing movies as well. And so tune in, next week again, same time, same place, same places, I guess. And so really thank you guys and appreciate your mom. And so y'all have a wonderful night. And we're gonna play one last bit from our media assets, which is going to be the little, I guess, compilation of of our of our sponsors. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and.
This episode is brought to you by Honeybee Funds. Honeybee is a nonprofit organization set up to help house homeless people that fall through all the cracks of other help. Homelessness in America has skyrocketed since 2020, and it's senseless in the wealthiest country in America. Outside of natural disasters, Honeybee believes there is no reason for homelessness in America. Some people will fall through the cracks because they have no children, no elderly living in their household. Some homeless people are not recovering from drug addiction or recently released from jail, so they are not viewed as priority for housing. Honeybee Funds is set up to help homeless find a home, even if they have large dog that they count as part of their family. Email charliepooch131@gmail.com if you wish to contribute to Honeybee Funds. Now we will...
All right. We thank you guys again from all of us here at Today's Entertainers with Little Dog and Bell Ringer Film Productions. We really appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Appreciate all of y'all. And thanks to all of our guests, to DJ Chico Garza and to Michael Edenbaum. We really appreciate you guys and look forward to seeing where you go from here and to where you are in the future. To everybody who's watching, get this. Get this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's been a great show. I really love it. I'm trying to put it on the screen. There we go. Get the Matzen. Get the Matzen. See you guys later. I will see y'all again next week. Take care. Good night.